Welcome to the study part. Now, today's topic is constructors. This is the core Java topics, the most important topic in the core Java. The most of the in the interview ask a question from these topics. Constructor. The constructor is what is the use and how to create all these things I will discuss in this particular video. Okay, I will complete this topic in the particular video. If video is 1 hour and 1.5 hours, it's okay, but I want to complete the whole topic in a single video. So now let's start. Okay, I will share this code here. I will share this code and PDF notes also in the Facebook page. Facebook page is the name. Facebook page I am showing to you. I'm showing this one. This one is the Facebook name. Is IT Study Bar. Go into the Facebook. This is my mail. You can message me directly. I will give the answer to you. Don't worry. And this is the page, guys. IT Study Bar. Inside the Facebook, you can go and search the IT Study Bar. Then you will get this page, and 2.8K followers are there. So you can go and collect the codes. And I already shared one code, Spring Boot second app which I prepared in the last sessions. And these codes I shared in this. You can go and see the code. This whole code I shared, and only on permutation and combination I shared. Okay. So same thing I will share. Which thing I will prepare, which thing I will prepare in this particular examples. I will share with you guys on this particular thing in this particular page. I take study park also in the YouTube. You are watching this video in the YouTube and collect this. I will share. I will put some some URL in the description bar. Go and collect the Facebook URL. I will put in the inside the description bar. So you can go and collect it. So now let's start our topic, guys. So today's topic is constructor. So how many of students know about the constructor? Constructor is mainly to initialize the value inside the object. Constructor is role of initializing the value inside the object. When you create the object, an object is created. When you want to initialize some value inside the object, then you use the constructor. And how all this point I will show you. First, just I am showing the theoretical to you, theoretical part. Now let's start. Thing is good. Okay, constructor. Okay, in this particular video, I will show the constructor overloading also. Okay, don't worry. Constructor overloading is possible inside the constructor. Okay. Okay. So now first point is write it. Okay, I will not share these notes. Just I am sharing only. I am sharing. Okay, I will share this note. Okay, don't worry. Okay, if it is possible to write along with me, then it is beneficial for you. Why? Because when you write all these points, then you will get the clarity when you read the statement on your written. Then you can better understand. This is my intention. That's why I'm saying to write down along with me. So now write it. Constructor is a Java features. Constructor is a Java features. It can be used to create object. Okay, it can be used to create object. Where you use the constructor to create object. Second point is the main the main role of the constructor is Constructor is object creation. Creation. Object creation is to provide initial values inside the object. Suppose one student class is there. Suppose one student STD class is there. New student. Okay, this constructor. I want to this constructor by using this line. By using this line, one object will create it. Okay, one object is empty object is created. Those object like reference variable of this object std pointing to this object. Okay, std pointing to this object. If you want to initialize the value inside the object by using constructor, then provide some values. Provide some values inside the constructor by using directly constructor by using this public student constructor. Just provide the value. Suppose student name. Yes, I student ID. Yes, ID suppose 111 or 101 is good. 101 and and yes name equals to like Ramesh and like yes address student address like provide like Delhi. Okay, this is the string type value, so better to enclose with the double quotes. Okay, so now these when you provide these type of thing inside this, so inside the constructor, that automatically this value come inside the object. What is that value? 101, 101, and Ramesh and Delhi. Delhi. These value automatically initialize in this object. Okay, when you create this. So this is the object. This is the total process. How to initialize or to initial values inside the object. How? Okay. So now this is the second point, and third point is guys. Third point is our very important. Okay. So write it in Java application. In Java application constructor are executed very important. Executed exactly at the time of creating objects, at the time of creating objects, before not before creating objects, not before creating object, and not and also sorry and also not after not after creating object. Now you can understand What is this point saying? This point saying constructor will execute at the point of exactly means exactly, not after, not before, exactly at the time of object creation, constructor will execute automatically. Okay, default constructor. Okay, default constructor, all this one. So now both point is okay, both point is the main utilization. What is the main utilization of constructor? The main utilization of constructor is to provide initialization for class level variables, mainly instance variables. Now, this point is constructor utilization is initializing for the class level variable, and class level variable also called the instance variable. When you declare a class and declare some variable like suppose you create the instance like enterprise application, you create the entity class, model class, and bean class. That variable at the class level, like student name, student address, student fee, and student mobile number. So if you want to initialize these variables, so use constructors. Okay, there is the main utilization of this constructor. Okay, so now and fifth point is constructor must have same name of the respective class. If you change the name of the constructor, then compiler writes an exception. Okay, and it will treat it as normal method. So it will give the error to you. It will raise an error, and that error is the method name. Method is there. Okay. So which modifiers are allowed? So now 6 point is access modifiers are allowed for the constructors. Okay, or which are not allowed. Okay. So which modifiers are allowed and not allowed? Like static and final. Static and finals are not allowed. Okay, these two access modifiers keywords are not allowed for the for constructors. So when you declare constructor, you should not use static and final. Okay, so now constructor are not allowing the access modifiers like static and final. You know that static and final. Static behavior is one copy for entire the applications. Okay. Final, it means it won't be changed, but constructor it change at the time. Okay. Time to time constructor will perform some changes. When you declare as a constructor as a final, so you cannot perform like modification. Okay. So now 7 point is write it. 7 point is constructor are not having like constructor not for written time. Okay, constructor not having or not allowing it, not having written time. written type. Okay, constructor not having written type. When you declare type, the these constructors are treated as the normal method. Okay, when you provide the written type. So this is the main thing. Here, just I prepare here. I just prepare only student and public access modifier. I use if I use like written type any written type void, then this constructor treated as like normal Java method. Okay, this is the also the special type of method you can say. Okay. Now, eighth point is, guys, eighth point is constructor that are allowing the access modifier, modifiers, modifiers like public, private, default, okay, and protect, default and protected. And these many, these four, only these four, up to that, these four are allowed. Okay, one by one, I will prove these points. Okay, first I'm writing, then I will show this point. So now let's start up to this. Okay, now wait. I have some more points. So ninth point is written down, guys. Ninth point is then start implementation. Then I start implementation. These points are important as for the if will be point of view. Okay. So constructor are allowing. What is that? Throws keyword. Okay. Constructor are allowing throws keyword in its syntax to access bypass accession parent from present or present constructor to caller present constructor to caller present constructor to caller. So now here observe this. When you use throws keyword, when you use throws keyword, then throws keyword bypass the exception to the present constructor to caller. Present constructor to caller. If you declare throws keyword inside the present constructor, then it will pass to the caller constructor. Okay, bypassing the main method. Okay, so now write it. How to declare which thing we can declare. Here we can declare access. Suppose just I'm changing the color. Okay. So now access modifier, we can declare access modifier. Here we can use access modifiers. Here is class name. Here is class name. Okay. Here you can inside the parameter list. You can declare a number of parameters. Okay. Here you can use throws exception list. And the exception we can pass. Exceptions list and curly braces open and close. Here you can provide the some initialization and anything you want, you can do it. So now this is the syntax. This is the syntax to create. This is the syntax to create. This is the syntax to create constructors. Okay. Now let's start the implementation. create one project. If those people don't know how to create project by using Eclipse ID, this is the useful. Okay, just create on. I want to just simple Java project. The Maven project is there, but I want just a Java project, normal Java project. I want just declare just create Java normal project. Select the Java normal project. Okay, click on next. All pros and cons I will show you. Which point I have written on the note. On the note, that part I will discuss first as a practicals. Okay, then go further. Time 8. I because my system is a little bit slow. Okay. Now here provide the third project is constructor. Okay. I will use Java 11 version. This is the 11 version. Okay. Now finish. No, I don't want to. Not prospective. I don't. Just okay. Project is created. Open the project. One SRC folder you will get. An SRC folder. Inside the SRC folder, just create one package. Okay. Inside the package, I will discuss. Okay. Some other session I will take session on the on packages, how to create packages. In Eclipse, it's that much. It's easy to create packages, but by using command prompt and normal edit plus, it's too much difficult to create one. Okay. On ITSP dot plus cons. Cons is the project. Okay. Package created inside the package. Create one class. Create one class. Class name is void on. Okay. Constructor, I want to public method, just create on public. Okay. If you want constructor, click on here. The automatically constructor will come, but I don't want. Okay. Just I will write manually. I will write manually. Then you can understand easily. Is created, project created, nominal created. Effective, class level variable, if you want to initialize, then you can, okay. Just create one class, like suppose public. This is our main class. Just create one class, like a student, okay. Inside the student, okay. Inside the student, create one integer int SID, okay, SID and string, yes name, student name, string, yes ADDR, okay, string, phone number if you want, otherwise float, yes fee, means fees, okay. So these many property I have created, okay. I want to initialize these properties. First time it's doing. Okay. So now here, just create one constructor. So how to create constructor, guys? Just use these keyword, use this keyword like public, private, default, protected. First I will show with the public, then private, then default and protected. Also, okay. So now this one is not required. Close this. Okay. Okay. So now here, just use public first level and class constructor name should be respective of the class name. So our class name is the student. Just initialize the value. Just initialize the value. So SID equals to 101. Okay, initializing. Yes, name equals to suppose Ramesh. Okay, Ramesh. I'm just providing Ramesh. And yes, ADDR. Suppose ADDR we use. Yes, ADDR use the student address. ADDR. Okay. Yes, ADDR. This is the also string type. Suppose Delhi. And here, just next to next property is float. How to initialize float value? Anyone know? Just comment in the comment box. Otherwise, just focus. Just float is just fee equals to just provide the 10. Then it's giving the error. Then it's giving the error or not giving error. Just show it's okay. So now whether to provide what is that dot zero EF. It's good. I got 100 rupees. 100 rupees. Floating point should be declared with the EF, otherwise it will take as a double. Otherwise it will take as a double value. That's why I'm providing float. Yes, it's indicate this value is float values. If you are not provide this EF, then it's treated as a double. Okay. So now let's see. Now we're ready. Our project is ready. So now let's call this. So first create the object of this class, student. Class name is student. Student std equals to new student. New students. No. Here you can't see the output. Why? Because object is created. Here object is created. One object is created by writing this line. Object is created and it will call this constructor. It's called this constructor and values are initialized. But how we can show the output? The values are there inside the object or not? Let's see. Okay. So now let's see. Public method, public void get student. Get student. If the method is there, okay. Inside the method, just declare yes out, s out. Inside the s out, yes id plus yes id. That's it. You can use it as id to print it. Printing yes out, student id, and yes name. Provide the name, yes name. Okay. Yes out, yes addr means address. What is the address we provide? Delhi, na? It will print. It's print Delhi. Okay. Yes addr. Yes out. Sorry. Okay. Now FP. Now call this get student method inside the main method by using student reference variable. We can access outside of the class, methods and members by using reference variable of the particular class or respective class. Okay. So now get, just click on get student. The method is called. Let's see. Just run this example. Just run this example, then you can get. Okay. Wait some time. Okay, now let's see. Data is coming or not? Object is created and data is initialized. Okay, inside the object. So now this is the total example, guys. So I'm just putting this example inside. I will put this in this example on group also. Don't worry. Okay. P. That here I'm providing this example here also. This example is there, guys. Okay. Now how to get constructor and now I'm showing some like I'm showing some private keyword. When you declare private as a constructor, what happened? What happened? Let's see. What happened? You will get an error or not. Private. Right. Now let's see. When you declare constructor as a private, then you will get an error. Then you will get an error. What is that error? Is constructor, the constructor student is not visible. Okay, the error we will get, the constructor student is not visible. Why? Because private keyword is scope inside only class. You cannot access this constructor outside of the class, or also you cannot create object of this particular class in outside. You can create an object inside the particular class. I will show you how. Okay. So now here declare one method public. Wait, otherwise use another class. So this one is also public. It's okay. Now use create one new class. Okay, B to all I want. Created or not? See what happened. What happened? B. All copy and paste there. Just create one class. Okay, it's okay. Let's create one class. Private cons. Private cons. Private cons. Okay. Just copy these things. Just copy this. Only this one I want. Only this data I want. That's it. Private count. No? The data I want. Just copy this data in private counts. Okay. Inside this, just student is there. Now we'll get the error. When you declare the return type method machine means it's treated as the normal method. When you provide the different name of the constructor not matching with the class name, then it will treat it as a simple method. Okay. Now just change the name of the constructor. What is the name? Private cons. Just provide this method as a private. Okay. Now change the spelling of the private, guys. Private. So now just rename the private cons. Okay. Now here private. Okay. So now its error is gone. But how you can call these inside? When you declare constructor as a private, you can access inside only class. So public static void main string args. String args you can use var methods. Okay. So now call this constructor. What is the constructor? Private. private cons equals to PC equals to new private cons. Private cons. Private cons. Okay, now just call PC dot get employee method. Then you can get down. Let's see. Just click on right click on that, run Java application. Run on Java application. Okay. Now here you will get the same data or not. You will get same data, otherwise you can change one not two. When you think, if you are thinking like same data, it's come from the previous project, no, it will come. Okay. One not two Ramesh Delhi, and this is the example of the private. So I'm writing some heading. When you declare constructor as private, okay. Okay. So now this is the private constructors. When you declare the constructor as a private, I am highlighting these points. Okay. This one is public constructor. So now when these points are declared, now scope is related to scope. Private default you can access. Okay. Protected is also allowed. I will show you. Okay. Now inside this go and here use default. Just remove this one and save it. Then you can access. Then you can access. Let's see. Okay. Output is coming or not coming. Okay. Now here just provide the protected. Only private related things are there. Okay. Protected. No, protected. Method I want this is protected. Okay. Now just to run this example, just I want to change the data 105. Okay, instead of Ramesh image save and right click on the project and try to run the application. Run the application. Now data will come in. So it means protected you can access outside of the class. Okay, you can access protected method, protected constructor also you can access. Suppose, okay, so now see, I will share these codes also. I will. Okay, that's good. Okay, okay. Now this is the protected. This is the protected. Also, I will put a default. Okay, protected. Outside of the access, you can access protected and default. Just you won't provide anything inside the constructor, then it will accessible. Data is coming on it. See. Okay. So now here paste. Our default. Default is output is come default. This is the default. Default constructor. Default constructor is done and protected done and student done and public is done and private is done. Okay, private. Next point is our let's see static and final is applicable or not. Let's see static. Just declare as the static, then you will get error. And you will get error. What is that error? Error is illegal modifiers for the constructor in type student only public protected and private are permitted. Okay. Now use final. Save, then error will come. The illegal modifier, the constructor same error will come. Okay. Now I'm writing some point. Note. When you declare declare constructor as final static then you will get error. This error you will get. Error you will get it. Bold I want, just increase the font size like 40 is no 40 is too much. So not required. 25 is good. 20 19 is good. Okay, then you will get this type of error. What is that error? Illegal modifier for just I am pasting the code also. Okay, paste it, delete this one, and final or static. Then you will get this type of error. Now it's good. Just I am pasting again. Okay, now first copy the code. Then I will write a note. Now, when you declare constructor as final or static, then you will get error. Error is sorry, just hold on this bit. Here, pasted this one and select this one. Bold, I want just it inside. That's it, and red names. So now this error I will get. This error you will get when you declare final. So up to this is good. Up to this it's clear. All the points I have written. I have written all those points. Okay. Now next point is I've shown how to create constructor I will show, and return type. Return type is the required. And you use return type. Suppose when you use the return type, remove this public public void. Just just call. Here you can call by using this. Let's see what happened. What happened? Let's see. Constructor null value is coming or not coming. Why? Because it's treated as a simple method. Simple method. So now if you want to, okay, now you can call this method like dot student. It's called as a normal method. It's called as the normal method. Right? Call as the normal method. Inside the method, nothing is there. So what is the print? Nothing it will print it. Nothing it will print it. Okay. So this when you use the like void and any return type, then it will be treated as the normal Java method. So now get student. So up to this it's clear. Up to this, I hope we clear this point. Okay. So now on the basis of this discussion, I'm writing some point. So those points will help you. So now if we write it, if we provide, if we provide constructor name other than other than class name, class name, class name, then compiler will rise an error, rise an error like invalid method declaration. Invalid method declaration. I will show you these points. One. Okay. So now how? Just remove this now and public one. Okay. Just use one thing. Public. Because the class name is student. Class name is the student. But our constructor name is different from the class name. Different from the class name. So what is that error? So return type in the method. Okay, this one error will come. Okay, return type. Suppose pass the return type, then the okay. So invalid method also it will come. Invalid method declaration or write it return or return return type required return type required because compiler has treated the provided constructor as normal Java method without the return type. Return without the return type, but for method return type is mandatory. Mandatory. Return type is mandatory for the Java. This point is highlighted. So now this point is writing some dummy code to try to understand. Okay. Suppose we class public class. Suppose class is test. Class is test is the inside the test class. Test class. We created our test one. Test one is the method. And so constructor provides some implementation. Okay. So now next one. Here the class main class. If you write one main class. Inside the main class, public static void main method is the main string asks inside this just create one object of the test class test t equals to new test. Okay. When you declare this, then you will get that. And you will get the compile time as well. And you will get here, error. Here is error compile time. Compilation. You will get compilation interface. You will get compilation error. Why? Because reason of this. Okay. So now write it. Next point is also I shown all these points. Okay. Just I am writing theoretically. So now next point is if we provide a return type to the constructor, if we provide return type to the constructor, then constructor you can understand cons means constructor. Okay. Compiler will not write any error. Compiler is not write any error. JVM will not raise any exception. And JVM will not provide any output because the provided constructor is converted as normal Java method. In this context, if we access cons, it means constructor as normal Java method. Then it will be executed. It will be executed as like normal Java. I have shown this point, guys. I have shown this point in the particular thing. When you provide the return type of this constructor, then it will treat it as a normal. Then I'm writing some dummy codes. Same dummy codes I'm writing. Okay, suppose we provide something here. Just you can provide yes out constructor systrich. Use one systrich. Stress. Okay, student dot student cons. Okay, cons. That's it. Cons. Then here provide one void. Call the constructor. All the constructor. Then the student is calling also. Let's see. Null data will come. Null data will come while using this one. So remove this. Commented this one. Just try. Let's see. Then when the student cons is coming, output is coming. Same. Wait, run on Java application. What happened? Okay, student one is providing just using one thing. Students. Okay, save it. Okay, now run. Now it's running. Now output will come. What happened? Wait. I will run on Java server. Just remove this one. Just completely success code or building coming. So remove this one, not required. Save it. Constructor is calling me. This will call automatically. It didn't call this method. Just call the method by using this one. What is that? std dot student. std dot student. Then you can put out. Let's see. Okay. Now cons will come because it's calling as the normal Java method. Now it's calling as normal Java method. Copy this. I will paste. So I want to data also. So now std dot student. Now here, just I'm providing this code. Change required. I'll give it. So now this one, and this one. This one I'm highlighting. This one is treated as a normal Java method. Normal Java method. Normal Java method treated as a normal Java method. And calling normal Java normal method. Now, up to this point is clear, I hope. Practically, I am showing this point. Because it's a good, its constructor is the important part when it will execute and when it will not execute. All the points are shown. So now let's see all the points I have shown and one by one protected and private, these many things I have shown. Now next topic is How many type of constructors are there? How many type of constructors are there? So now inside the Java, two type of constructors are there. First one is the default constructor. Second one is the user defined. One by one, I will discuss. So now I don't want to underline, but bold also I don't. Just type of constructors. Type of constructor. Constructor in Java. Okay. Type of constructor in Java. Write down this heading and write it. And write it. And write it. Write it. In Java, two types of constructors are there. Okay, two type of constructors are there. So these two type of constructor. First one is the default constructor. Second one is user defined constructor. Okay, user defined constructor and default constructor. One by one, I will discuss. So now, first constructor is default constructor. Default constructor. Default constructor. So default constructor is default constructor. So suppose if we are not providing any constructor, if we are not providing any constructor in our application, our application, then JVM will provide one constructor called default constructor. Okay, this constructor zero argument constructor is not having any argument. Why? Because it's provided by the JVM. That's why it's called the default constructor. Also, we also user also provides zero argument constructor, but we cannot say this is the default constructor. Many of the people having the myth like if you provide zero argument constructor by the user, by the programmer, then we also call this constructor as a default constructor. I strictly speaking, you cannot say this constructor is the default constructor. Default constructor is provided by the JVM and with the zero argument constructor. I will show you in the examples. Okay. So next, create one class. Just I'm creating one class, simple class like uh, cons taste. Then JVM will provide one constructor automatically. What is that constructor? Here we provide any default constructor, not now. Just see here. One constructor is there. This const is this one is the constructor. Guys. This one is constructor. It's providing by the JVM. If if you want to see the constructor, I will show you how. It's 1 minute. I'm showing to you. Just I'm using one thing. There is my Notepad plus plus. Wait. Yeah. This one is my Notepad plus plus. Just I am opening. Here I declared one class. Here I have declared one class like public class cons test. Okay. Test without any step. Okay. Just save this class. Just save this class. Just save this class inside the anything anywhere you can save inside the batches. Inside the batches core Java and the constructor is going on nodes. Okay, here I'm just saving this constructor with the name of cons with the same name of the file cons text. Okay, just save it. You save this file without giving any implementation. Just Control O, just Control O, open one CMD. Oh, sorry. Dot Java is required. Wait. So okay, just Control O, open one CMD. It's okay. Okay. So now first save this class as the Java. Control C, save as, or click here, Control Alt, yes, save as, paste dot Java is required, save it, now it's coming. Save and compile this file, so now Java, C, cons dot Java, cons dot Java, cons, paste T, cons taste dot Java. File name was good. Okay, now file name is different. Given another button. Now here, just provide it. Okay. So same class name should be different. That's why save as, again save it, don't do it. Just save it. Don't be save it. Okay. Here, Java C, test.java, compile this file, then public class and product giving error. Class test1 public. Sorry. P we declared as the capital. That's why it's public. Okay. So now run this. Now here we run the application. One dot class will automatically generated. If you want to see what dot class file is, the dot class file is generated like dot const test dot class file. This dot class file is generated. Now I want to show something. So now how? If you want to print the data of the class, one profiler as there, Java P command is there, you can just put it and put the class name, that's it. Cons test. That's it. How many things are there? We provide this one, public const test. We provide this. Is it provided or not? It's given by default by the compiler. We provide just class as the simple class. Okay. Control C. Just I'm putting it. Okay. Control V. This one is user defined, and this one is given by the compiler. This one is given from the compiler. So now this is about default constructor. Default constructor. This one is the default constructor. Default constructor. Default constructor. This one is the default constructor. Now I'm writing some point, so it has to you. Okay. So now write it. What is the point? If we have not provided any constructor any constructor explicitly in Java application, Java class, then compiler will provide zero argument, zero argument, zero argument, argument constructor automatically provided by the compiler. Okay. Compiler here the compiler here the compiler provide zero argument constructor means cons constructor is called what is the default constructor constructor. Okay, it's called default constructor. So now next point is if we provide any constructor explicitly then compiler will not provide any default constructors. So okay. Okay. So now I will show this point also. So first I put the example of the example. Okay. This one. If we provide any constructor, suppose inside this we provide one constructor, zero argument constructor on public on table. We provide zero argument constructor. Okay. System dot out dot print ln. Here you can write zero r user defined forms. User defined forms. Okay. Zero argument constructor also. Okay, save it. Now compile this. File this. Now you observe the Java P on test. It's this constructor given by the user. Okay. If you provide any constructor with the argument, suppose int a. Let's see. This is the default. This is the zero argument constructor. Compile this. Run this. Now here you can observe this is the user defined constructor. This one is given by the user. Open this one. Here. Paste this one. Copy this one and paste it here. Here. Okay. This is the before compile. This is the class. Compile. Before compilation. compilation. Looks like this. Then after compilation, this class become look like. Okay. So now this point is clear, guys. So now one note point is there. This is the very, very important point. Right? Default, about the default constructor. Default constructor having the same scope of the respective class. Having the default constructors having the same scope of the respective class. Okay. Which scope provided inside the class, same scope will acquired automatically default. So this is the point, default constructor having the same scope of the respective class. So respective class having the scope of the public, then constructor should be public. Classes should be like default. Constructor will automatically scope is the default protected. Suppose class is the protected, then protected, and class outer class will not be private. Okay. Okay. So now the default constructor is up to this is complete. So now next topic is our next one is user defined constructor. Next one is user defined. Number two is user defined constructor. User defined constructor. Okay. So now user defined constructor is provide the constructor by the user. It's called user defined constructor. Okay. So like these constructor are provided by the developer. Provided by the developer as per their application requirement. Okay, as per the application requirement. User defined constructor, if you require, then you can provide. Otherwise, if not required, don't provide it. Okay. If we write it next, if we provide any constructor explicitly without parameter, then that constructor is called zero argument constructor. Okay, guys. So if you provide zero argument constructor without any parameters, then you can call this constructor as a zero argument constructor. We cannot say, hey, this is the default. Okay, default constructor is the strictly provided by the compiler. Okay, I hope you get the clarity about this topic before that on this thing. If we provide any constructor, with at least one parameter, all this bunch, and that 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 constructors is called as parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructors. Okay. So now next is all this point I will go with. Okay. Now next point is by default, by default, by default, all the all the default constructor are zero argument constructors. Zero argument constructor, but all zero argument constructor are not forms are not constructor. It means are not default constructor. Default constructor. Some of zero argument constructors are provided by the user. I have told you some of the zero argument constructor provided by the user are called zero argument constructor. We cannot say this constructor is the default constructor. Provided some of zero constructor are provided zero argument constructor, but all constructor not default constructors. Okay, and default some of the constructor are provided by the compiler. Compilers are called default constructor. Okay, are called default constructors, and some of some of other constructors are provided by the users. They are called as defined user defined constructors. That's it. So now this is the important point for the remembering purpose I have given. Okay. Now go with the examples. Okay. Go with the examples. So now last examples, this one. This one is the example is the user defined constructors. So remove this one, not required. Call that this example based on the user defined constructors. Okay. So now std dot get student, not employee, get student. This constructor provided by the user, and then here data is printed. Okay. Now let's run the example. Okay. Now output is coming. Zero argument constructor is also there. So remove out of it. Okay. See, and here resident. Just I'm increasing the size of the page, guys. Because some more things are there, like constructor overloading. Very important topic is there. Please don't skip the video. Watch the full video on our YouTube. Please, and also I will share this code on my as well as I'm sharing this notes. Okay, don't worry. I will share this note on my Facebook group. Okay. Example of user defined constructor. Okay. It okay. So now I'm writing which one is the user defined constructor. This one is user defined constructor. This one is user defined constructor. Okay. User defined constructor. User defined constructor. Okay, this one is the user defined constructor, and here we call this method, and here we call the constructors. Okay, so now after that I will ask some questions. Okay, so prepare yourself also. So now I did some point related to this above examples. Above example, I'm writing some point. There you can understand better. Understand. You can there you can better understand. In the above example, in the above program, if we create more than one object, for the employee, employee, not employer, more than one object for the student class by executing zero argument constructor then then same data will be same data will be stored in all multiple objects of the student class. What is my point is, guys? My point is, suppose I created multiple object of the student class, then the same data will store inside the object. Here, suppose here is creating one object by using this, and okay, and here okay. Now STD is pointing to this. Now here is storing some data like some data. 105 is their name is there like image storing, and Delhi is storing the date rupees is storing inside this. Okay. Inside this object, this many data is storing. Suppose we created one more object. Here I am showing the example. Suppose one data is there, one object is there. I want to create one more object. Student std1 equals to new student object. So student std2 equals to new student. Now three objects is created. We created three objects and call the three objects three methods. Let's see. Okay. So now here std1 dot get all student detail, student dot two dot get student. We created three objects. Same data will reflect. Same data will store. M5S. First one is okay. Second one. Third one is this one. Third one is this. First one is this. And second one this. And third one is. Same data is stored. So now this point I am seeing. Okay. Just I'm pasting the code. Okay. Okay. Now here the object is created. Now object is created. Here, data ID is stored inside the std1 and one more object is created. 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 One more object is created and one more object is. Okay, now std is there and this one is std2, std2 and this one is std3. But here is problem is there in the three objects, same data is storing. Same data is storing. Suppose if you want to store different data in different objects, then what is the way to store? Okay. So now I think this point is the important, that's why I'm saying. The second point is this is also important point. Right, then as per the requirement, if we create more than more than one object for the student class with different data, then we have to provide data to the object. We have to provide data to the object explicitly. For this we have to use parameterized constructor. Have to use which one? Parameterized constructor. What is the way? If you provide different data to different objects, then use the explicitly user defined constructor with the parameterized value. So now how? Let's see. Now how we can provide? Suppose this is the class. Now creating new class, parameterized. Okay, not an issue. Let's create one class. Parameter counts. So I want public main method. I want create one class, like class student is there, student is class, same data. Okay. Suppose created one constructors, first we provide some data like int yes ID, string yes name, and a string yes ID. Yeah, that's it. Three property I'm providing. Now, when create the object, I want my requirement is when it's creating the object, it's storing the different data inside the different objects. Now let's see how. Create the constructor public, how to create public student. What is the int? Yes, sir. std ID, student ID, okay, comma, string. This is the parameter, string. What is the name of the class? What is the name of the yes name? Yes, underscore name. Yes, name means student name, and comma, a student address. Yes, ID. Yes, ID is good. std, yes, ID, and name string. Yes, underscore add, student address. provide the initialization of the particular parameter. So now how we can provide about SID equals to SID equals to which data I provide from the constructor. That data I want to initialize in this variable. Okay, so now how s underscore id. Okay, now yes name equals to yes name underscore yes name, and yes addr equals to yes underscore addr. Now data is initialized, constructor is created. Now I want to print the data. I want to print the data, which data is there in the particular object. So call this method and data will be printed. Now public void get student. Okay. So without parameters, the simple method s out sid equals to plus sid plus sid and yes out yes name student name provide here yes name value variable yes out yes addr means address student address plus time just SAD. Now you can eligible. Now you can eligible. You can provide. Okay, student is already defined in somewhere. That's why it's getting error. Suppose student one. Okay, student one will go inside the constructor also student one. Inside the same package, two classes not inside the same package. Why it's giving error? Why? Because inside this one class, I already prepared one class all the student. That's why it's giving. Okay, so solve this error. So now here, student, student one. Suppose create the student one object. Student one std one equals to new student. If you pass this like, it won't call the default constructor. It's asking to you just provide the parameter. Why? Because mismatch cannot convert the student to student one. Why? Because it's not converted student to student one just here. Save it. Now we can get the constructor student bin is undefined. Okay, undefined. Just provide the value. Suppose 101, comma, string. Suppose Raja I'm providing here, comma, and Raja and address is Delhi. First is provided. Data is come automatically to page there amount. I used sorry. Okay. Parameterized constructor. Here we pass. Okay. Now data is passed. Just a student one dot get run this, right click on the project, run this application, then data is put inside the variable. Now I want to store one more data in another object. One more student inside the student one, student two equals to new student. Now 102, comma, Rani, and here is UB responsible. Now student one is there. Now data is stored in the student two dot get student. Now student std3 equals to new student 103 and provide Ramesh and he is from KNJ. He is from KNJ. KNJ. Okay. He is from KNJ. And then the one city there inside the UP. Okay. So now save it. Student one is there. Save. Now let's try this example. Run this example. Run on server. Okay. Now here, third object is created and data also be inserted. We cannot call we cannot call the method of get student. That's why it won't print. That's why it's not printing. Yeah. Up to 2 is printing. Just call std3 dot get student. Now you observe this. Run this. Now here you can observe. 103 is come Ramesh KNG and 102 Rani and data is coming. So now this is the parameterized tool. Now I'm pasting the code. Now I'm pasting the code inside the it. And this paint I'm shared, I will and also I will a diagrammatically presentation. Okay. Okay. Here observe this. Now here is creating three objects. Here is creating three objects. First object is created by using, second object is creating, and third object is creating. Three object is pointing to different reference variables. Okay. This is good. Okay. Now this one is std. One is pointing, and here is pointing to std2. 2 is pointing to this object. Okay. Okay. Now this is the std2. So now these three objects is created. Now inside the three object, this data is inserted by using this constructor. By using this constructor. Okay. Now data is storing. Here data is there. Until 102, 101, and Raza, and the address, and here 102, and UP. This data is there inside this object 103, 103, Amaze. Amaze is there, KNJ. KNJ is the address. Okay. By using this reference variable, by using these three reference variable, you can access this data. Okay, inside the object. So now this is the parameterized constructor. This one is parameterized. Parameterized constructor give the helps to provide the data to the different objects. So now next topic is our constructor overloading. So parameterized constructor is finished and user defined constructor is finished. So now let's come into the very good discussion, guys. What is the discussion? Parameterized constructors is completed and user defined constructor is completed and default constructor is completed. All the practicals I have shown you, and now come into the constructor overloading. What is the constructor overloading? Tell me, anyone know of constructor? Constructor overloading is same name with different parameter. It is possible. Okay. Now how I will constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. What is that? Constructor overloading. Constructor overloading is if we declare more than one constructor with the same name and with different parameters list, different parameter list, then is called as constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. And I can call constructor overloading. Suppose one class is there. Class, suppose test class is not a class. Cons class is there. Class is there. Inside the cons class, cons with zero argument parameters, constructors is there, and suppose on int I parameters are there. Okay. This is the constructor overloading. On suppose int I comma string yes, suppose this one different events. Okay. This one is called constructor overloading. This one is called constructor overloading. This one is constructor overloading. This one is constructor overloading. This one is constructor overloading. Okay. This one is constructor overloading. I will show the example also. So constructor overloading. Okay. So now let's go to the direct practicals. Okay. Now create one class on overloading. On overloading, I want the main method finish. Okay, constructor overloading with a different parameter list. Okay, create one class. Suppose class like some class like Alex. Calculator class like calculator. Yeah, you provide some calculators. Okay, suppose I want to add here, we provide one first int I int j. Okay, int I int j. Okay, int I int j, int I int j. Suppose public cal calculator. This is the zero argument constructor. Okay, calculator. Okay, okay, systrace, systrace is there. Okay, so now public calculator with one parameter list. With one here you can declare, you cannot override and you cannot perform in the same name with the same parameter list. Okay, here int I int I. Suppose int I not required, maybe confusion may rise. Int A. Okay, int A. I want to initialize A2, which data is come A to the I equals to A. Okay, A data, I want to initialize A data into the, okay. Okay, here is not required calculator. Here public calculator here provide an int A, comma, int B. Okay, just coming. Okay. Now here, this data is coming from this. Just perform and initialize with I equals to perform A. Okay, and J equals to initialize with B. Then perform I plus J. Then perform I plus J. Otherwise, here you can take one thing. Inside the I plus V. That's it. Here you can initialize. Yeah. Okay, now it's perform. Okay. I'll create one more. I want to add 3. I want to add 3. Okay. I want to add a 3. So here is not required to take 2 variables, just take 1 variable. Okay. So now I want to add 3. This is the constructor overloading. Now how? Just public while get some method you call, then we get it. Then yes out number is just print I. Number will come automatically. Okay. Then S out sum of two numbers. Number just print the I. Here it's not possible. Why? Because here we call this constructor by using overloading constructors. Okay. What you should do one thing. Here, don't take this method. Not required. Just performing something here. Just performing yes out here directly. You can perform. Here not. Just I equals to A. Okay, here I can just perform the call. I want to print yes out A plus B. I want. Mm, Not required, not required. You may getting confusion, so better to I take one more variable. J is required. Okay. Int J. So now you can understand. Now int J, just I use A and J is B. Okay. So now take one more constructor if possible, but it's okay. Sum. Now performing sum. So public void sum, get sum, get, get, yeah, get sum. Now here, get sum method is there. Get sum like yes, add, add like performing add operation. What is that add operation? I plus J. Okay, I plus J. Let's go. I plus J. Now let's see. Call this method by using creating this. So now here, create first default constructor. What is the default constructor? Not a default constructor, not a zero argument constructor. Call the zero argument constructor by using create the calculator. Create calculator. Calculator. What is that guys? Calculator. Calculator C1 equals to new calculator. Calculator. This is the zero argument constructor called C1 dot like C1 dot get sum. C1 dot get sum. What is the sum? What is the sum here? We provided. Let's see what is the happen. What happened? Zero it will get. Zero it will get. Zero. Add is zero because we didn't provide anything here. Now calculate. Calculator. We provide second thing. Second C2. C2 with the parameterized value like I want to call the this one parameter. Here it pass, then now get some value we call get some value call. We get 0 and 0. We get 0 and 0. Why? Because we directly initialized. We directly initialize. Just int I. Okay. Here I am printing 0. I plus j. I plus j. Now call this third one. T3 equals to 10, comma 20, 10, comma 20. Provide this value. Slice with I and j. I and j. Slice with I and j. And performing I and j plus. So save it. Now run this. Why is add come 0? Why is add come 0? I plus it should not get. It means it's taking value as a 0. Why? Public. Okay. Creating the object of this class and why it's not performing. Okay. Yeah, we call the same method. We didn't call the that's why. Here you perform the time previously provide same. Here we provide 3. Now it's good. Now it's good. Now it's good. Save it and then 10 and 10 plus 10, 30. 10 is come and 30 is come. This is the constructor overloading. Perform one more method, provide one more method, public, calculate, calculate. So the last int A, comma, int B, comma, int C. Okay, int C here just provide, here just pass the value I equals to 10, I equals to A, J equals to B, and this A equals to like C. Now I declare one more variable int areas. Now performing here, inside this performing here, perform here, I plus J plus K. Here performing not calculate, calculator. Now call this constructor, all this constructor, all this C4, C4 and passing 3 parameter. Suppose we pass 10, comma 20, comma 30. We pass 10, comma 30, comma. Here we call the 4, C4. Now output is come. Output like 30, 30, 60. 60, 10, 10 and 0. Now see, and I'm pasting this inside. This is the last we completed today. Example of constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. Yes. Okay. Oh. Constructor overloading is completed. The total part, total constructor topic is completed in this video, guys. Total constructor. This one is constructor overloading. Here this object is created, different object will be created and different data will storing. Okay. So now this one. Okay. The next topic is this keyword. I will discuss next topic in some other sessions like this keyword. Okay. So now writing one point, writing one last point I'm writing. Note. Note is if we declare more than one method with same name and with different parameter list, then it is called as method overloading. And it is called method. Okay. Method overloading is a different and constructor overloading is a different. Okay. This is the method overloading. Concept wise is same. Okay. This is the constructor wise. So now constructor is completed, guys. As total constructor is completed. If anything I missed, may I forget it, which I prepared. Okay, I have discussed with you. Okay, all the point. Okay, I will share these notes on my Telegram channel and also Facebook. And by startings, I have shown you. So thank you for watching. We will meet next session and also Spring Boot and Spring MVC. Okay, so we will touch with you. Thank you. And if you have any personal doubt, like notes related, just comment on my comment box in the YouTube videos, and I will read it and I will resolve your problem. Thank you for watching.